Breaking news, it seems like President Donald J. Trump is going to fulfill his recent promise of giving stimulus checks to millions and millions of low-income Americans, and we have a very important update to give you right here. Look at this. Senator Josh Hawley finally introduced his bill to send tariff rebate checks to Americans. President Donald J. Trump recently said that he's thinking to give stimulus checks to millions of low-income Americans, and it seems like it's going to happen. I'm gonna give you each and every detail in this very important video, but all I need is just a little favor. It takes 2 seconds to please smash the like button on this video. So without any further ado, let's start the video. So let's start the video with this breaking news that a new bill for stimulus checks to Americans is finally proposed, is finally introduced, and things are going to change for millions and millions of low-income Americans. Remember, this stimulus check will not go to all Americans, but this rebate checks will go to low-income Americans who are struggling right now. And Senator Josh Hawley finally introduced this new bill, and remember, President Donald J. Trump recently talked about it, and it seems like it's going to become a reality. Look at this. Senator Josh Hawley introduced his bill to send tariff rebate checks to Americans. Now the biggest question is that how much you are going to receive and how much is proposed under this new bill introduced by Senator Josh Hawley. As we all know, that Senator Josh Hawley always supports President Donald J. Trump. You can call him a big fan as well, as he always praised President Donald J. Trump, and it seems like this move finally came after he talked to President Donald J. Trump. At least it seems like it, because President Donald J. Trump recently talked about giving these stimulus checks to Americans, and now Senator Josh Hawley finally introduced this new bill, and it's a milestone achieved for millions of low-income Americans. But when it comes to the details and what will be the amount of this check, look at this. Republican Senator Josh Hawley introduced legislation Monday to provide tariff rebate checks of at least $600 per adult and to child to American families, similar to the stimulus checks the government distributed during the pandemic. This is a breaking news for millions and millions of Americans who are struggling right now. Remember, if you are a family of 4, means you have 2 kids, and you and your partner, means you are going to receive $2,400 worth of stimulus checks under this bill. Remember, $600 is for each adult and child. So if you are a family of 4, it translates to $2,400, and this is indeed going to be a lifeline for millions and millions of Americans who are struggling right now in this worst inflation. After President Donald J. Trump talked about the possibility of these new stimulus rebate checks, everyone started talking about it. Americans were really excited, but some were hopeless as well. If you remember that few months ago, Elon Musk, the former head of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, along with President Donald J. Trump, proposed the $5,000 worth of DOGE stimulus checks to Americans, and people were hopeful that these stimulus checks will be mentioned under big beautiful bill that was recently passed by the Congress, and President Donald J. Trump already made it a law. But you need to understand that there was not a single mention of these $5,000 worth of DOGE stimulus checks. That's why millions and millions of Americans, including a number of analysts and experts, were skeptical about this new announcement from President Donald J. Trump about giving a rebate checks to Americans who earn a certain amount of income. Now the biggest question is that who's actually going to receive it, what are the income limits, what is the eligibility criteria, and we have some very important details to share with you. Remember that this check could go to the people who make $40,000 and less. Let me repeat it. This check could go to the people who make $40,000 and less, because this rebate check is for low income Americans. And one of the very important details that I came across under this bill, look at this. The bill would reduce the rebate by 5% for joint filers who have adjusted gross income in excess of $150,000, a head of household whose income exceeds $112,500, and an individual taxpayer whose income exceeds $75,000. Remember, this is introduced and proposed under this new bill from Josh Hawley, but you need to understand, when it comes to the previous DOGE stimulus checks that were proposed by President Donald J. Trump, or at least talked about, those checks were going to the people who make $40,000 and up. And a number of analysts and experts said that if these new rebate checks will come to Americans, these checks will come to Americans who make $40,000 and less. Well, everything will be finalized after President Donald J. Trump or Congress approves this new bill. But you need to understand, under this new bill introduced by Josh Hawley, this check will go to the people who make $75,000 and less. And remember, there is a cap in it, right? If you make over $75,000 and you are an individual, then there will be a 5% deduction in your check, or you can say 5% rebate reduced in your check. So means that instead of receiving $600, you might receive $550, and it depends on your income limit as well. If you are a couple and making $150,000 and more, then the same thing will apply to you. But one thing is very important right here, that it seems like President Donald J. Trump is finally going to do it for millions and millions of Americans. This breaking news is a fresh breeze of air for millions of Americans who are struggling right now, and we can proudly say that these stimulus checks will prove to be a lifeline for those Americans. If you have any questions at all, then please let me know in the comments below, and I'll be happy to answer each and every question of yours, as Credit Viral channel will always be with you in your good and difficult times. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video very soon. Till then, please take care and have a nice day.